So hello everyone, I am Mylene Bialon. I will be presenting a topic on how to write the chapter 1 using introduction. So without further ado, let's do this topic. So chapter 1 leveled the problem and its background. It explained the general situation, existing conditions, previous studies, and why the topic is important. It leads the reader from a broad idea to the specific issue being studied. So it means that you need to overview the topic by discussing a current situation, related theories, and the importance of the research, guiding the readers from the general idea to the specific problems being studied. This is the parts of chapter 1, which is the introduction, background of the study, objectives of the study, significance of the study, scope and delimitation of the study, time and place of the study, operational definition of terms, and last is conceptual framework or theoretical framework of the study. So, we will discuss the first parts, which is the introduction. Introduction. When we say introduction, of course, it covers everything. So, introduce the variables involved of the study. So, you need a title, the independent variables and dependent variables. And next is offer a brief overview of existing research, theories, or key concepts. This is where you start to introduce where they came from. Do they have the origin in a law, theories, or an actual legal basis? And next is should catch the attention of the reader and convince him here that your research topic is worth studying. This much catch the attention of the readers, and you need to convince them that your topic is worth studying, and orient here the reader as to why you chose or thought this studying of topic in your research. And next is show data gap and questions that remain unanswered. The gap becomes a need or something lacking. It is possible to examine different theories and show that these theories have a contradicting, have a gap, or have a question that not an answer. And this research will conduct the study to bridge the gap between those two different theories or laws. And next is the following tips on how to write the introduction. So of course, you can start a brief but provocative citation. It is important. Sometimes it becomes clinch, but it's okay to try. You can start a quotation, a popular verb, or words coming from a famous person that you think is related to your study. So next is striking facts or statistics and offer brief details that help the reader understand the context of your research. So is also contains a stand argument to bridge the gap in theories that might be contradicting or you think is lacking. And next is describe what your research will cover and why it is important. It is also where you write the reason why you want to replicate a completed study, which is usually found in the last paragraph of the introduction. And next is if a new theory is being proposed for the study, commence by attacking some pertinent universally held theories on the subject and giving a rationale behind the research undertaking. Or if you want to create a new theories, you need to show or present the existing, lacking, or not yet truly studied theories right in the introduction. So next, we proceed to our background of the study. So briefly describe the area of the study and its importance. So this study focuses on a selected research area and its relevance to education. Understanding that this area is important because it helps explain current issues and factors that may affect of learning outcomes and learning performance. And next is summarize what is already known from previous research. Previous studies are shown that the variables under investigation is related and play an important role in academic success. These studies is provide a foundation and support needs to further examine the topic. And next is identify limitation or gaps in existing studies. Means, despite existing studies, limitation remain such as difference in context, sample size, or population. And some aspect of the variables have not been fully explored, particularly in the local or in a current setting. And next is explain why addressing these gaps is significant. Addressing this gap is important because it allows the study to provide new insight and more accurate, and they can help improve educational practices and support evidence-based and decision making. And next is organize the content logically with a strong opening to introduce the general topic and a logical flow to the research problem statement. Means the backgrounds begins with a general discussion of the topic and gradually narrows down to the specific research problem. And this logical flow helps the readers to understand the purpose and the direction of the study. So next is the following tips of how to write a background of the study. First, you can define the problem from general to specific. And next is concept and ideas related to the problem. Meaning, you can start with a general observation up until you reach the specific observation of the specific problem in your local population. And next is present conditions and what is aimed to be in the future or the gap to be filled by the research. If earlier in the introduction, we discussed the variables, and this one is all about the concept or ideas related to the problem. It could be a present condition, the gaps that we need to fill in your research. As you are following related in the different question that can you guide to write the background of the study. So this is what aspect of the problem or phenomenon are known and needs further investigation, and what near have been used previously in research of the problem. What you know about the problem you are researching or investigating. What are the approaches? What else need to be done for in other research that you can do again or change in your study now. And next is parts of objectives of the study. So first is clearly state the specific goals that the research aims to achieve. So this state the specific goals that the research remains to achieve. Details the readers exactly what study intends to accomplish and prevent the research from coming too broad or unclear. And next is identify what the researcher intends to find out, measure, or analyze in relation to the variables involved in the study. This helps ensure that the variables are properly defined and examined in a meaningful way. And next is guide the direction of the research, help in formulating research questions, and determine the methods used for data collection and analysis. Meaning, they serve as a roadmap that keeps the study focused on answering relevant and purposeful questions. And next is focused, systematic, and aligned with the identified research problem. Meaning, they determine the methods used for data collection and analysis. Clear objectives help the research choose appropriate research design, instrument, and statistical tools. And next is the significance of the study. So from the word significant is important. So explain why the study is important, meaning you will write why it's important to research your topic, who will benefit from your study, will write that here. And next is who will benefit from the study. So what I said. Then now, what is the tips on how to write the significant of the study? So first is use your SOP or statement of the problem to know who will benefit from your sub and main problem. Meaning, when we are writing the significant of the study, since you will write the people who will help, you will use a SOP to know who will benefit of your study. And you will write it from general to specific. And next is write from general specific contribution. How will it benefit the entire community, students, teachers, parents, future researchers, and school administration? Meaning, you will explain why DY will benefit from this study. Like for example, in the big group, like entire community or entire country, then the group is get smaller from an entire community. Next is in the school or entire community. Next is to the school or company. Then teacher, supervisor,